using Home Depot chicken wire and just kind of like hitting it, with a wrench or something and putting glue. That's just not the professional way of doing things.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
So let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
RWB. What's the story behind the name?
So RWB stands for RAUH-Welt BEGRIFF.
Okay.
It's a German phrase that roughly translates to rough world concept.
Rough world concept.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it all started in a small, unassuming body shop in Chiba, Japan.
Okay.
The brainchild of a man named Akira Nakai.
Okay. Rough world concept. Sounds intriguing already.
Yeah.
So this Nakai guy,
Uh-huh.
what's his deal? Is he some kind of engineering whiz with a fancy degree in automotive design?
Not exactly.
Okay.
Nakai's background is actually in drifting. And he's largely self-taught when it comes to car modification.
Interesting.
And his style is, well, let's just say it's very distinctive.
Distinctive.
Think exaggerated wide-body kits, massive wings, exposed rivets, and an aggressive, almost Frankensteinian aesthetic.
Okay.
He combines elements of Japanese and European tuning cultures,
Right.
but the result is something totally unique. Nakai's methods definitely raise eyebrows.
Okay.
He does a lot of the work by hand, using surprisingly basic tools.
Yeah.
He's been known to cut fenders on the spot
Wow.
and attach body panels using screws and silicone.
With silicone?
Yeah.
Like the stuff you use to caulk a bathtub? That doesn't sound very high-tech for cars that, from what I've heard, come with a pretty hefty price tag.
Yeah, that's one of the main points of controversy surrounding RWB.
Really?
Yeah. Some people criticize the build quality and the materials, especially considering the price these cars command.
Yeah.
There's even a joke going around calling it ruined wheels and bodies.
Ruined wheels and bodies. Ouch.
Yeah.
I guess I can see where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm dropping serious cash on a customized Porsche, I'd probably expect something a little more well-refined. Yeah.
Some people see it as rough around the edges,
Uh-huh.
while others view it as part of the charm.
Right.
A testament to Nakai's hands-on approach and his rejection of mass-produced perfection.
It's like he's going for that raw, almost primal aesthetic.
Yeah.
And the techniques he uses are part of that statement.
Right.
But still silicone. I mean, come on.
I know, it's hard to wrap your head around it.
Yeah.
One of the YouTube videos you sent actually has a comment that perfectly captures this sentiment.
Oh, really?
Someone wrote, and I'm quoting here,
Okay.
using Home Depot chicken wire and just kind of like hitting it, with a wrench or something and putting glue. That's just not the professional way of doing things.
Okay, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
But also kind of concerning.
right.
Does this guy ever use anything besides glue and chicken wire?
There are stories about some, let's call them interesting build choices.
Okay, interesting.
Apparently one RWB owner checked his tow hook after seeing Nakai work
Oh, no.
and discovered it was glued on, not bolted.
What?
And there was that whole thing where Nakai accidentally sprayed over the wheels while painting tire lettering.
Whoa, seriously?
Yeah.
Glued on tow hooks and overspray.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It is.
I mean, I get that he's going for a certain look.
Yeah.
But you'd think for the kind of money these cars go for, he'd be a little more careful.
It definitely raises questions about build quality
Yeah.
and whether the price tag is justified.
Right.
But here's where things get interesting.
Okay.
There's another side to RWB that goes beyond the controversy over techniques and materials.
Okay, I'm all ears. What's the other side of the story?
Yeah.
Is there more to RWB than meets the eye?
Absolutely. Some people view these cars not just as modified vehicles, but as art pieces, expressions of a very particular aesthetic vision.
Art pieces. I mean, I can see how some people might find them visually striking,
Right.
but art. That's a pretty bold statement.
It is, but think about it.
Hey.
RWB cars aren't just about performance or practicality.
Right.
They're about pushing the boundaries of automotive aesthetics,
Okay.
creating something unique and visually arresting.
So it's more about making a statement
Yeah,
than, say, setting lap times at a racetrack.
exactly. It's about challenging the conventional norms of car design
Uh-huh.
and celebrating a more individualistic, even rebellious approach to car culture.
That makes sense. It's like taking something that's already considered a classic, a Porsche,
Right.
and then turning it into something completely different, something that reflects the owner's personality and vision. Even if we consider them art pieces, does that excuse the questionable build quality and the use of unconventional materials?
That's where the debate gets really heated.
Okay.
Some argue that the rough around the edges aesthetic is part of the RWB charm,
Okay,
a deliberate choice that adds to the car's character.
okay, I can see that.
Others, however, see it as a lack of craftsmanship,
Right.
a sign that Nakai is cutting corners and not paying enough attention to detail.
So it boils down to a difference in perspective.
Yeah.
Some see it as artistic expression, while others see it as sloppy workmanship.
RWB sits at the intersection of Japanese, European, and even American car cultures,
Right.
each with its own set of values and aesthetics.
Okay, so break it down for me. How do these car cultures differ in their approach to modification?
Well, in Japan, car culture is deeply rooted in personalization and pushing the limits of design.
Okay.
Think about the Bosozoku style with its exaggerated body kits and wild paint jobs. It's about standing out, being different, and expressing individuality.
So in a way, RWB's boldness aligns with that Japanese sensibility of not being afraid to be different.
Absolutely. And that can clash with the more traditional European car culture,
Okay.
which often emphasizes heritage craftsmanship and preserving a car's original design.
That makes sense. Modifying a classic Porsche in such a radical way is bound to ruffle some feathers in those circles.
Exactly. And then you have American car culture, which is a
Well.
bit of a melting pot of styles and influences, but with a strong emphasis on performance and horsepower.
So where does RWB fit into all of this?
Yeah.
Is it more aligned with the Japanese approach, or is it something entirely its own?
I think it's a fusion of all these influences, but with Nakai's own unique vision driving it.
Right.
He's not afraid to borrow from different cultures and push the boundaries of what's considered acceptable in the car world.
So in a way, he's creating something new, something that transcends cultural boundaries
Yeah.
and speaks to a more global, perhaps even universal desire for self-expression through cars.
That's a great way to put it. And that brings us to another key aspect of RWB,
Okay.
the driving experience.
Okay, let's talk about that. I mean, with all those modifications, those wide bodies and huge wings, can these cars even handle properly?
That's a common question.
Yeah.
And the answer is, it depends.
Okay.
While RWB cars are definitely built to be driven,
Yeah.
the focus isn't necessarily on setting lap times or achieving peak performance on a racetrack.
So it's more about the feeling, the sensation of driving something unique and pushing the boundaries of what a car can be.
Exactly.
I can see how that would be appealing to some people,
Right.
but there's still the issue of the price tag. These cars aren't cheap.
Right.
And the question of whether the price is justified keeps coming up.
And it goes beyond the cost of materials and labor.
Okay.
We're talking about the value of art, the value of personalization,
Yeah.
and the value of owning something that's truly one of a kind. And that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Because the value of an RWB Porsche is ultimately determined by what someone is willing to pay for it.
So it's a matter of supply and demand, just like anything else.
Yeah.
The rarer it is, the more desirable it becomes,
Yeah.
and the higher the price goes. So even if some people might question the build quality or the unconventional methods,
Yeah.
the value is ultimately determined by those who appreciate and desire what RWB represents.
That's a great way to summarize it. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into RWB. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. This is The Deep Dive signing off.